Today, Europe is Hungarian, without any question. The people of Hungary have spoken and they have reclaimed their European path. It is a victory for fundamental freedoms. And I really want to say to the Hungarian people, you've done it again, against all odds, like you did in 1956, when you courageously stood up, like you did it in 1989, when you were the first to cut the barbed wire that was dividing our continent. So with this result, our union is stronger, our union is more united. It was an exceptional evening yesterday. Of course, we will start working with the government as soon as possible on the topics you mentioned and much more to make a swift and overdue progress to the benefit of the Hungarian people. There's much work to be done as Hungary is coming back to the European path.
This is my video update on this Monday afternoon, April the 13th, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news and let's start things off with the big story for today, which is the results of the elections in Hungary. The results that saw Peter Magyar and his TISA party win a supermajority in the parliament, 138 seats compared to Viktor Orban's Fidesz party, which got 55 seats. A landslide victory for Magyar and TISA. So Orban has lost the elections. The new Prime Minister of Hungary will be the globalist, sponsored, EU-backed Peter Magyar. 16 years, Orban was the prime minister. His government was in power for 16 years, and the voter turnout was huge in these elections. I believe the biggest voter turnout in the history of parliament elections in Hungary, and it was a big win for Magyar and for TISA. A big win, which will have huge repercussions for Hungary, for the European Union, for the war in Ukraine, Project Ukraine, a possible war between Europe and Russia. All these things may have been decided by the people of Hungary yesterday in the vote. And with a supermajority, I believe that Magyar will be able to change the constitution. I think he will have that kind of power now. He'll be able to align Hungary perfectly with the European Union and everything that Ursula has been demanding of Hungary since Orban has been prime minister, and Orban has refused to do. For example, the judiciary and aligning the judiciary with the European Union, giving up the power of the judiciary to the European Union, and these types of things. This will be what Magyar will be able to accomplish with his supermajority. We could see Hungary make moves to join the euro currency, which will be a massive disaster for Hungary, but this is something that Orban has resisted and something that the globalists in Brussels will demand of Hungary, and something that Magyar may be able to deliver. TISA claims that they're not going to change the border policy or the migration policy, but I think that Ursula is going to demand that the border and the migration policy once again is aligned with the globalist rules-based order and the globalist values. So we could be seeing some big migration and border changes in Hungary. Once again, something that Orban has refused and resisted. 90 billion to Project Ukraine, something that Orban has vetoed. That money is now going to be greenlit to Project Ukraine. One of the reasons why the kleptocrats in Brussels, all the cool kids in the EU and the leaders of Europe and Zelenskyy are so happy is that that 90 billion is now going to be given to Ukraine, so no problems there. Magyar also claimed that he's not going to cut off the Russian energy, not just yet. I believe he has contracts with Gazprom and the likes for until 2035, but the EU is demanding that all gas and oil cooperation with Russia be cut off by the end of 2026 and then by the end of 2027. So there's no Russian energy entering the European Union, including going to Hungary. And I imagine that Magyar will also fulfill this demand of Ursula as well. And Hungary is just going to fold into the EU. You know, Hungary is a small country, a relatively small country for the European Union. It's not the size of Germany or France or Spain, Italy. But under Orban, it definitely punched well above its weight. And now it's just going to kind of fold right into Brussels and integrate right into the rules-based Brussels order. And that'll be that. So those are the elections in Hungary. Orban was facing all kinds of corruption, cronyism allegations, economic problems, most of which were brought on by the European Union, and the fact that the EU was fining Hungary and holding back funds that were owed to Hungary. Those funds will probably get released, by the way, the 20 billion that they owe to Hungary. Maybe they might get released. Who knows? Maybe Ursula might say, you know what, Peter, I'm still going to keep those funds, those 20 billion. But I imagine as a reward for a job well done, he'll get some of that 20 billion. But that 20 billion is just going to go right to the MIC, and it's going to go right to the Project Ukraine. So it's going to come into Hungary, and then it'll go right out the door. It's a pretty loud television over there, that guy. Anyway, so Orban, he had the allegations of corruption. He had economic problems, which many were due to the EU policies towards Hungary, squeezing Hungary economically. It worked, and then he aligned himself with Trump and with Netanyahu. And I would say 6 months ago, aligning yourself with Trump and MAGA, or maybe 9 months ago, aligning yourself with Trump and MAGA. Not so much Netanyahu, but Trump was probably a positive. But now with the war in Iran and everything that has developed over the past 9 months, aligning yourself with Trump and MAGA works against you. And then aligning yourself with Netanyahu, not popular. So that definitely hurt Orban. And you know, Trump didn't really do much for Orban when you think about it over the past year. You know, Trump sent J.D. Vance a couple of days before the election to Hungary. He posted one message on Truth Social about it, but about Hungary and supporting Orban, but that was it. Trump was on the phone more with people like Macron and Stubb and these guys than with Orban. he really did not support Hungary and Orban the way he should have, because Orban was the one leader in Europe who absolutely supported Trump. He was a big backer of Trump during the 2024 campaign for U.S. president, perhaps the only EU leader who supported Trump in 2024. Trump could have easily made a call to Le Gobelin Vert and told Le Gobelin Vert to fix the Druzhba pipeline. He could have easily done that. He could have easily called up his vassals in the EU, Ursula, for example, and said, Ursula, whatever money you're holding back from Orban, give it up. Give it up now. And Ursula would have had to give it up. But he did none of those things. Anyway, that is the situation in Hungary. Ursula posted on X, Hungary has chosen Europe. Europe has always chosen Hungary. A country reclaims its European path. The union grows stronger. Exactly. The union is going to grow stronger. The centralization will grow a lot stronger now. They've removed a huge obstacle in their path to European dominance. Ursula and Kaja Kallas will now be able to fully dominate the European continent. Perhaps the only person left now is Fico. That is it. And Hungary is down the European path, she says, reclaimed its European path. Yeah, it's going to be folded right into Europe, tucked away into the halls of Brussels, disappeared into the halls of Brussels, a once proud, sovereign, independent, unique country member of the European Union that really stood out from all the sheep of the EU, is now going to just be folded right into the EU path. The rules-based order. Alex Soros, very happy. Big winner in these elections. The people of Hungary have taken back their country, a resounding rejection of entrenched corruption and foreign interference. Soros talking about, yeah, okay, you lecture us on entrenched corruption. Okay. Whatever, bro. Merz is very happy. The most unpopular leader in the world, next to Stammer and Macron. The E3. Is Macron still part of the E3, or Meloni has officially replaced Macron as a member of the rock band known as the E3? Anyway, Merz, very unpopular, but very happy. Very happy that Magyar won. Yeah, you know Magyar, he's going to end up like all of these EU leaders. Over the years, his popularity will diminish, and he'll become like Macron or Merz or any of these guys with a 10 or 15% approval. But the Hungarians will never be able to get rid of him. They'll never be able to get rid of these guys. Now that the EU has their claws sunk in Hungary, they're going to sink their claws and their teeth deep into Hungary. They're not going to let go. They are never going to allow the likes of another Orban, running again, maybe in 4 years, or someone like Orban. They're never going to allow it. They're going to change everything up and make sure that they don't get another fly in the ointment, so to speak. So yeah, it's just going to be another one of these EU countries with a leader that is going to lose popularity over time. He'll start off popular, but over time, over a year or 2 or 3, he'll start to become like Macron or Merz or any of these guys. But you're not going to be able to get rid of him. There will be no getting rid of Magyar. I guess one positive to all of this, at least for my shows, is that I've probably added another person in my ensemble of clown world characters. Let's see who he appoints as foreign minister and all of these positions in his cabinet. I'm sure it will provide me with a whole lot of good clown world segments. Tusk called up Magyar, very happy. Donald Tusk, one of his big backers. Hello, Peter. Oh, I'm so happy. I think I'm even happier than you. I bet you are, Donald Tusk. And of course, Le Goblin Vert. Goblin Vert, very happy. Congratulations to Magyar Peter and the TISA party on their resounding victory. It is important when constructive approach prevails. Ukraine has always sought good neighborly relations with everyone in Europe, and we are ready to advance our cooperation with Hungary. Europe and every European Union must get stronger, and every European nation, must get stronger, and millions of Europeans seek cooperation and stability. We are ready for meetings and joint constructive work for the benefits of both nations, as well as peace, security, and stability in Europe. No doubt Zelenskyy will be making a trip to Budapest, or maybe Magyar will make a trip to Kiev. Probably Magyar has to go to Kiev, bow down, kiss the ring of Le Goblin Vert, pledge his allegiance to the avatar of globalism that is Zelenskyy, and then Zelenskyy will make a trip to Budapest. He's got to collect his money. He's been waiting for that money for a long, long time. Come on, Podolyak. Pack the bags. We are going to Bucharest. Mr. President, Budapest. What did I say? You said Bucharest. That's Romania. We've already got Romania in our pocket. Okay, Budapest. Let's go, Podolyak. Book first class ticket. We got a lot of money coming to us. So Trump has started his blockade. I believe the blockade on Iran is on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Trump's blockade of Iran, the blockade that will open up the Strait of Hormuz that was open before the war. The blockade of China, trying to stop that oil and that energy from getting to China. Yes, that is what is at play here. I talked about this in a video update from a couple of weeks ago when it was announced that the Marines were heading to the Strait of Hormuz, and everyone was wondering what is this group going to do? What are these Marines and these ships and these helicopters? What is their goal as they arrive into the region? Some people were thinking Karg Island or capturing other islands in and around Hormuz. And Brian Berletic brought up the possibility of blockading Iran in order to prevent oil and energy from making its way to China. And Brian's point in that video from about 2 weeks ago, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago, was that these Marines are just going to sit right outside of the Strait of Hormuz. They don't even have to get too close. They can still remain out of range of Iranian fire. And all of the equipment suggests that they're just going to hang out and pick off the ships that leave the Strait of Hormuz. And that is exactly what they're going to do. And I watched Brian's video from 2-3 weeks ago, and then I reported on what he said 2-3 weeks ago, noting that this could be one of the things that the Marines are set to do as they arrive in the region. And sure enough, that is what is happening. And Trump, he posted about this on Truth Social. He posted 2 huge statements on Truth Social. I'm not going to read you his statements. That would probably take up 20 minutes in this video update to read you what Trump said about the blockade in Iran, which has now started. But one section of his post on Truth Social, Trump says this is talking about how Iran is charging a toll to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and if you're the United States or Israel, then you get no passing through the Strait of Hormuz, but other ships have to pay the toll. And Trump said this is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. Yeah, no one can extort Donald J. Trump, right? Right. No one's allowed to extort Trump, the Trump White House. No one. Okay. Okay. So he's announcing piracies. Pirate Trump. Pirate Trump is here. He has arrived. Pirate Trump. Hello, mateys. I like it. I like it a lot. The United States making sure that the international seas are safe. The same United States that blows up ships and speedboats in the Caribbean. The same United States that blew up and murdered North Korean fishermen. Remember that story? Now they're talking about policing the international seas. The United States that seizes ships, tankers, shadow fleet tankers, or gets the Europeans to go after shadow fleet tankers. At one point in time, the United States under Joe Biden, not under Trump, but under Biden, got the Greeks to go after Iranian tankers. Remember when that happened? So CENTCOM posted the U.S. Central Command forces will begin implementing a blockade of all maritime traffic entering and exiting Iranian ports on April 13th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in accordance with the president's proclamation. The blockade will be enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. CENTCOM forces will not impede freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. Okay, the European Union, Macron, and the UK, the European Union led by Macron, along with Starmer of the UK, they're also putting together a coalition to deal with Hormuz. So that's happening as well. But there you have it. Trump announcing his piracy program. And the ships are going to remain well out of range of Iranian missiles or drones. And they'll just be sitting out there in the seas, in the waters, waiting for the ships to leave the Strait of Hormuz. They'll follow the ships, as Brian was explaining today in his video update. What they're going to do is they're going to follow the ships that leave Hormuz, that make their way out of the Strait of Hormuz, that have paid their fee in Chinese yuan. They make their way out of the strait. They start sailing and sailing and sailing towards Asia, towards China, whatever. And then the United States is just going to pick them off. They're going to pick off those ships, board them, seize them, take their cargo. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do to these ships? It's not going to be good. So the New York Post is claiming that this move from Don Tzu is brilliant. That's the New York Post editorial board. The smartest people at the New York Post are saying this was a brilliant move from Don Tzu. You blockade me, I blockade you. How about that? Oh, you're going to blockade me again? Well, I'll blockade you again. I'll blockade your blockade of my blockade with another blockade. And they're saying this is brilliant from Trump. And Trump reposted this on Truth Social. Trump brilliantly calls Iran's bluff with his own Strait of Hormuz blockade. Iran's negotiators refused to satisfy America's demands Saturday in talks in Pakistan as regime leaders bet that playing the Strait of Hormuz card would get Trump to blink. It's all about poker, isn't it? It's all poker. Poker references. Playing their card, trying to get Trump to blink. Anyway, instead, he played it right back at them, announcing his own blockade so that Iran's oil exports, which had continued despite the war, will also be blocked. The Prez is thinking outside the box with his blockade and his plans to escort ships through the strait if necessary. He can later order U.S. forces to take Karg Island and eviscerate the regime's power base. Okay, so we know what's coming next. Perhaps a Karg Island strike. This also guarantees that Tehran's effort to charge a toll on on all tankers crossing the strait will fail, honoring the American commitment to freedom of the seas that goes back to President Thomas Jefferson, the Barbary pirates, and the U.S. Marines' triumphant excursion to the shores of Tripoli. It was just an excursion, Trump said. Just an excursion. The whole Iran war is just an excursion. The Barbary pirates. The poker references. The script writes itself. I wonder if Iran has to do anything. Does Iran really have to do anything? Does China have to retaliate? Does Iran have to really retaliate? Or do they just allow the United States to seize ships, pissing off the entire world, prolonging, exacerbating a huge economic crisis, which will eventually affect the people of the United States, the citizens of the United States. So I don't think Trump really cares about that too much. The price of gas going up. Trump believes that he'll be able to absorb a rising gas price, a rising price in everything. And all of this happens. Everything increases. Oil to 150, oil to 200. Iran just sits back and watches. China just sits back and watches. And within a month or two, you could be looking at $200 per barrel. And that's going to affect everything. So do you try to push back on what the U.S. is doing? Do you confront the U.S. or do you just allow Trump to go ahead and drive the price of oil through the moon, to the moon and through the moon, and then just sit back and watch as everything crumbles? What do you guys think? What do you think Iran should do? What do you think China should do? Is this what winning a war looks like? Trump saying that he won the war and he obliterated everything, and it's been a victory like no other. No one's ever seen anything like it. Is this what winning looks like? Anyway, Ghalibaf, the Speaker of Iran's parliament, who was at the negotiations in Pakistan, said, "Enjoy the current pump figures with the so-called blockade. Soon you'll be nostalgic for $4 to $5 gas." How about $10 gas? How about $15 gas? I don't know. Can Trump survive that? Can the Republicans survive that? Can the world survive that? Russia will be fine. China will be fine. China can support Iran for 3 to 6 months. Does the rest of the world have 3 to 6 months? Europe definitely doesn't. There are countries in Asia that do not. Australia definitely doesn't. Anyway, Arachi, he posted on X, "In intensive talks at highest level in 47 years, Iran engaged with the U.S. in good faith to end the war. But when just inches away from Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding, we encountered maximalism, shifting goalposts, and blockade. Zero lessons earned." I think it should be 0 lessons earned. Goodwill begets goodwill. Enmity begets enmity. Now, who could have sabotaged the talks? Who could have sabotaged a possible MOU? So close to an MOU, according to Arachi, inches away from an MOU. Who at that meeting would be the saboteur? Let me think. Vance, Witkoff, Kushner. Who could have been the saboteur? Can't figure it out. Cannot figure it out. Above my pay grade. Oh boy. So we have the President of the United States insulting the Pope. That happened yesterday. He said that the Pope is weak. He's upset that the Pope, the leader of the Catholic Church, is against war. He's against the war with Iran. He's against war in general. He would prefer peace, and this is very problematic. Oh, check out that lizard. This is very problematic for Trump. Where are you? Did you guys see the lizard? He had a little bit of green, like a very, like a neon green stripe. That was a cool looking lizard. Anyway, yeah, he's very upset at a pope who is against war. Go figure. Go figure. Trump criticizes Pope Leo, says if I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican, and that he should get his act together as Pope. Use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician. And in a very long Truth Social post, he talks about the Pope's position with the war against Iran. He calls the Pope weak. That's actually the first thing he says in his Truth Social post. Pope Leo is weak on crime, terrible for foreign policy. Why does Trump even have to address this? Why do you even have to go there? You don't have to go there. Why bother with this? But he did. He went there. And he went further. He went much further. He actually told Newsmax in an interview that he is not walking back his statement about the Pope. I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. We don't like a Pope who says it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a Pope that says crime is okay. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo. Yep, he doubled down, doubled down on that Truth Social post. But wait, there's more. That meme, wait, there's more. Oh my God, there's more. There is more. Trump wasn't done insulting Christians. He decided to take things a bit further, a lot further. And he posted an image of himself as I imagine himself as Jesus Christ. He is healing a man who very much looks like Epstein. That's who he looks like. I'm not saying it is Epstein, but it looks like Epstein. And he's healing him. And in the background, it looks like, I guess it's supposed to be angelic military soldiers or something, but they look like demons, to be quite honest, in the background. I think that's a U.S. fighter jet. You can see the Statue of Liberty. And you can see Trump healing a sick man who looks like Epstein. Trump as a god. Demonic. Absolutely demonic. Remember when Rubio said that Iran is a crazy radical theocracy, a religious radical theocracy? Remember when he said that? 2 weeks ago, Marco Rubio, the people that run the country are radical Shia clerics. These are religious fanatics. That's what he said. Today, Trump posts an image of himself as Jesus Christ. Every accusation is a confession. Spot on. Exactly. Exactly. What an unfortunate AI slop post from the President of the United States. What more can I say? Very, very unfortunate post from Trump. By the people that support Trump, the people that are in the cult are going to make all kinds of excuses. He's trolling, he's making fun of this leader or that person or this group of people. He's just trying to get a rise out of X group or Y group, or he's making a statement on wokeness or whatever they're going to say. You've got TDS If you're unhappy with this image, you've got TDS. Yeah, the cult members, they're not going to mind an image like this. They're not going to be bothered with this image, but everyone else should be very bothered with an image like this. At least if you're Christian, this should be a very troubling image. Anyway, that is Trump. Not done. He's not done. What can I do? This is filling up my video. These Trump Truth Social posts. This is Clown World territory now. He decided to also post about Bruce Springsteen. Yep, he also decided to weigh in on the boss. Again, this time with a photo of Bruce Springsteen. A photo that doesn't make Springsteen look good. And the title says, "What happened to Bruce Springsteen? Bruce Springsteen prior to plastic surgery." Okay, this is Trump criticizing Bruce Springsteen's looks. Bruce Springsteen prior to plastic surgery. This is coming from from Trump. Okay. handsome Donald J. Trump. All right. You're criticizing another man's looks. All right. I have another clown world to get to here. Once again, a Trump post. All this came out today. He has a photo of the Trump Tower on the moon. That's it. Just a photo of the Trump Tower on the moon. Not so creative, huh? Not so creative anymore. The memes from the White House are either memes of the Trump Tower, on the moon, on Gaza, on Iran or whatever, in Greenland, or they're memes of Trump, that black and white photo of Trump where he looks very, very angry or very powerful, and they have peace through strength. What are the ants thinking about? Ants marching. That's right, ants. Get the job done. The ants are getting the job done. So you either have a Trump Tower somewhere, you either have a meme of Trump, a photo of Trump, that black and white photo where it says peace through strength, or you have the Trump dance, right? You have that Trump dance. So that's the meme propaganda from the White House, and it's just all become pretty stale and pretty boring, especially when you compare it to the Lego videos. And another Lego video dropped today from a different design and creative company, but they also dropped a Lego video, this one on the blockade of Hormuz, with a very catchy rap song, very catchy tune, and you just can't compare the two. You cannot compare the level of propaganda between the White House and between the Lego videos. So I think I'm going to end my video there. Big news in China, by the way. Xi Jinping met with the leader of the opposition party who flew to Beijing. The opposition party of Taiwan. She flew to Beijing. They had a very good, productive meeting. And who knows, maybe Taiwan is looking at everything that's happening, and they're finally starting to wake up, or at least the opposition party in Taiwan is saying, you know what? We better sort this out with the mainland, with China, with Xi Jinping. Now, they're part of China. Taiwan is part of China, but they better sort things out, because being tethered to Trump, to the United States, is not working out well for just about anybody. I will end the video there, theduran.locals.com. We're on X, we're on Rumble, we are on Telegram. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. Check us out on Substack. I will see everyone tomorrow. Take care.